Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my second trimester little recap video, and I figured now was a good time to do it because I am approaching my 28th week, which is the start of my third trimester. I will actually be 28 weeks on Thursday, but I will be in Hawaii. So I decided to film it now, so I'm like 2-3 days shy of being in my third trimester, so being at the end of my second, I figured it's a good time to do it. So today I'm going to be talking all about my second trimester, being my anatomy scan, my glucose testing, ultrasounds that we had for the baby, and just overall changes that I had throughout my second trimester versus my first, and like some of the pros that were easier during this second trimester and some of the parts that weren't so easy. So yeah, and also please don't mind the mess on my changing station. That's all my clothes I have packed for Hawaii, but I haven't put them in the suitcase yet. But yeah, so if you want to see how my second trimester went and some things that I would recommend for people in their second trimester, just go ahead and keep on watching. For me personally, my second trimester started on May 16th of 2019, and we are currently in August. So yeah, my second trimester started in May, and like 3 days, so I turn it every week. I change on Thursdays, so that's following Saturday, so I was like 14 weeks 3 days. We actually got to find out the gender of our baby by doing a 3D ultrasound, and we went to a private place, not my doctor's office. We went to a regular, it was just a smaller office it was a smaller office. They just had the room, they do the ultrasound, and they can actually tell you the gender of your baby at 14 weeks and above. And we did that as soon as possible because, again, if you saw my last video, me and Ramon are very impatient and we wanted to know the sex of our baby right away. And so they did tell us we are having a baby boy, and right away I was able to tell that he was a boy. And so yeah, that was very exciting. And then when at 14 weeks, they look like this in your little belly. So super tiny, super cute. And I believe, yeah, they start, so that's the size of a lemon. So he's a lemon and he's an eggplant now, being the start of my third trimester. So they grow a lot in the second trimester. And at the beginning of my second trimester, I was still having some morning sickness, not too bad. And again, for me personally, I didn't get any throwing up, like, so no vomiting or none of that. I was just very nauseous all the time. Like, when I say all the time, I mean all the time. So I mean, that sucked really bad because it's just, you just want to feel your best. But definitely that wasn't an everyday thing like it was in my first trimester. It was just here and there. And definitely, I want to say less than halfway through my second trimester, it had completely went away. I mean, every now and then I get nauseous, but I think that's just from like life, because I feel like not being pregnant, every now and then I would get like nauseous, just didn't feel well. So in that case, like for me personally, the motion sickness, the nausea, all of that ended in my second trimester. It wasn't even too bad in the beginning, but it was like that. I was very tired in my second trimester though. I think I'm just gonna be tired this whole pregnancy. I'm kind of lazy, so I mean, that doesn't help. But yeah, and actually in my second trimester, I decided to leave my job at Ulta and stay home and just work from home. And yeah, so I've been doing that, so I have been having money that way. And yeah, so I quit my job just because, due to other reasons, which I could probably make a story time on that, because that was a whole mess. But yeah, so I ended up leaving my job. But I mean, being home, I feel like for me, I know everybody, not every single person gets the chance that they can be home. For me personally, like majority of my pregnancy, I honestly may have even left at the very end of my first trimester. So I haven't worked majority of my pregnancy, which is kind of a mess. But anyways, yeah. So then after we did our 14-week ultrasound, I did go back to the doctors at 16 weeks. And at 16 weeks, basically all they did there was just kind of checkups, hearing the baby's heartbeat. And she hears the baby's heartbeat every single time I've had an appointment. And in your second trimester, at least for me personally, they do have me come to the doctors every 4 weeks. And then now that I'm in my third trimester, or will be hitting my third trimester, they will have me come every 2 weeks. But as of now, as of then, I was going every 4 weeks. So I did go at my 16-week appointment. And again, like I said, It was totally normal. Checked the baby's heartbeat. I didn't get an ultrasound at that appointment, and actually, no, I didn't. And then I came back 2 weeks after that just because I wasn't gaining any weight. And for me personally, during my entire pregnancy up until, I want to say like a couple weeks ago, I wasn't gaining any weight. I was actually losing weight. I had lost, in my first trimester alone, I had lost 10 pounds. So I lost 10 pounds in the beginning of my pregnancy. I've gained them all back as of now. But yeah, so that was really hard. And like, it wasn't necessarily that I was throwing up, and that was my doctor's main concern, that I wasn't keeping food down. But I just wasn't hungry a lot of the time. And I don't know why, but I just wasn't hungry. It kind of sucked. And like, it was very disappointing, honestly. Like, every time I'd go to the doctors and I was either losing more weight or I was basically not gaining weight, it made me feel like I was doing something wrong, and it really sucked. And I would get very upset about it because it's just like, I don't understand why. Like, I'm eating, like, I would take a shower right before my doctor appointment, so my hair was wet, so I was thinking like, okay, maybe it'll be heavier. Like, I was doing a lot of things, so like, and like stuffing myself right before I got to the doctor just so I could see some kind of weight change. And I mean, again, that was me personally. I know some people have a problem gaining too much weight, but for me personally, I wasn't gaining enough, and that was it. You almost feel like you're letting your little baby down because you don't know why. And my doctor really never gave me a valid reason why I wasn't gaining weight. It was just kind of like, are you eating? Yes. How often are you eating? And I was telling her, and like, she was just trying to get me to just, I was drinking like Ensures, so like the kid drinks to help them put on weight. Like, I was drinking all types of stuff, and I mean, eventually, like, I finally started gaining weight, and so it fixed itself. But I think it was just because of, really, in the first trimester and in the second trimester, I was kind of nauseous, that I wasn't wanting to eat. And so that kind of, I feel like that had a lot to do with it. I just wasn't hungry, I didn't want to eat. But it's not like I was like starving myself. I also just didn't feel hungry. And then after my 16-week appointment, I booked myself for my 20-week appointment with my regular doctor, and then 20 weeks. So for me, the office that I currently go to, because I have Kaiser for my medical, and so they have smaller offices in the city that I live in, and then like 10 minutes away in a different city, they have the hospital. And every time I have to have like certain testing, like blood testing, or like my glucose test and all of those things, or like certain ultrasounds, I have to go do that at the hospital. But I booked a regular appointment at my regular doctor's office, and it was our 20-week appointment, and that was, I believe, June 30th. I've written down. It was June 30th, and so we went and did that. And she just took like a couple pictures of the baby. They like kind of looked like crap, but I think she was just checking, like, make sure he was all good. And at this time, my doctor, they couldn't tell me whether he was a boy or girl. I was going to an appointment at the hospital, and they were doing my 20-week anatomy scan. And actually, in your first trimester, you do the first portion of that at 12 weeks, just to make sure, like, as of then, all of your baby has all of their parts, and making sure like their insides, like their liver, their heart, their brain, and everything, it looks good. So I was doing the second portion of that, and second portion of that test. And at that time, so at 20 weeks, it says your baby is about the size of a banana. So about this big in your belly. And at that point, I thought like my kid was huge. Like, I was like, 20 weeks, I'm halfway there. Like, this baby is ginormous. Like, I really thought like my kid's huge. And so we did that, and that was about a 45-minute ultrasound. And when they do that, basically I had just went into the back room, and they did my ultrasound. Ramon was there with me. They confirmed that he was a boy, because at the 14 weeks they can't guarantee anything. I mean, I clearly saw it, but at the same time, since they are still so little, they really can't guarantee it being correct. But I saw with my eyes. But yeah, and so I wanted to show you guys a little ultrasound of my little baby boy at 20 weeks at the ultrasound. He's so cute. I die. I'm currently wanting to do the, what is it, 43? I don't know, the HD. I don't know, one of those ultrasounds where you can really see their facial features. I'm probably going to do it a couple weeks after we get back from Hawaii, So, because I know they tell you not to wait too long because then your baby's going to be too cramped and like can cover themselves. So I should probably book that soon. But yeah, so we went and did that. They told us everything looked good. His heart was good. His feet and toes had everything. He had all his fingers. Everything looked good at our 20-week anatomy scan. So that I feel like takes a lot of pressure off of you, because at your 20-week scan, they're very quiet. I mean, for me personally, I don't ask questions. I just let them do what they need to do, and at the end I'll ask if like anything. But so the technician did our ultrasound. She just kept saying everything looks good, looks good, looks good. Every time she would move on to a different portion of him, she showed us like the chambers of his heart, the different sections in his brain. And so that was really exciting, just because you can see your little baby just being them. And he was being stubborn for a bit and just didn't want to show us his face, so we didn't really get a good shot of like his frontal, but he was just being a butt. And so we were able to do that. And then after that, the doctor had came in and she basically said like she looked at all the pictures the technician had taken and he looks as perfect as can be. And so that, like, for me personally, and I'm sure every parent goes through that, is it takes a big like weight off your chest, because at that appointment they can tell you whether your child has a defect or has a higher chance of having autism or anything like that. So I mean, that really helps a lot, just being assured that your baby is healthy. And even if your baby isn't, it helps knowing at least at that point what you can do as a parent to help. And so that was, yeah, like I keep, like, it's hard for me to talk about, because it's just, when you're in that moment, it's a lot of pressure on you, and you don't want to feel, again, like you're letting, and I feel like that's, for me personally, this whole pregnancy, I feel like if I was to have anything wrong, or my son was to have anything wrong, I would feel a lot of pressure during, basically being like, well, he's inside of me, and it's like, what am I doing wrong? And so it's just like, that's what I keep thinking and keep going back to, is like, it's all on me. And so that was exciting, and that was good to just get it done and over with and understand that that was okay. And after that, I believe I just had like a regular doctor's appointment. She was making sure I was all good in the hood. And yeah, so then I just had one more appointment after that, and then she scheduled me for my glucose test. Glucose test is something that I was so afraid of, because everybody on YouTube made it seem like it was like the drink from hell. And it wasn't like that. So basically what your glucose test is you have to drink, like, it's like about this big. It's a little drink, and it's literally just like flat soda. Everybody made it seem like it's this disgusting sugary orange soda, like you're gonna die. And a little funny story is, the restaurant I used to work at, our orange soda wasn't carbonated, so it literally was like drinking juice. So it was Fanta, and we put a high C label over it because that's what it tasted like, was like orange high C. And we put the orange Fanta label, like, no, it was orange Fanta, the liquid, and we put a high C logo over, like, where people can pick their drink. And it literally was just that. So I had no problem whatsoever, because I was used to working there and drinking that all the time. So literally what it tasted like. And so my doctor basically told me, like, she'll put the order in for the drink. I just have to go to the lab and do all of that. And so probably like 3 weeks after my doctor had put in the order for me, or maybe like 2 weeks, after she just told me to get it done before I went to Hawaii, because I believe it has to be done in a certain time, like you have to do it within a certain time frame. And so then I went to the lab with Ramon, because it is an hour long, and I was not gonna do that by myself, so I made him come home from work early, and so he could come with me. So basically what I did is I went and I checked in at the lab at the hospital, because again, I have to do those certain testings at the hospital. So I went and did that testing at the hospital, and then they just told me, like, you have 5 minutes to drink this drink. Go ahead and drink this drink. And like, so whatever, I just sat there in the little, like, it's kind of like where they draw your blood. They just had me sit there. I drank it super quick. the guy, so basically whenever I finished the drink, the guy wrote down the time, 1 hour from that time. He was like, basically like, don't leave, like you can go outside, but you have to be back by this time. So me and Ramon just stayed in the waiting room playing on our phones, talking, and so the hour went by pretty quick, and I went back, they drew my blood, and then I'm an idiot, and I don't know why I don't just set up my online, like, for me, for Kaiser, you can have, like, an online thing, and it'll literally tell you your test results, like, an hour later, but every time I try to set it up, it just doesn't work for me. I've tried, like, 9 times, and so so it was the next day, and I called my doctor's office, basically asking, like, oh, is there any way I can get my results, da-da-da. She's like, yeah, your doctor's busy right now, like, I'll have her give I'll have her or her assistant give you a call. And so I was like, okay, no problem. So then her medical assistant that I always see, like the one that comes and checks me in for most of my appointments, she called me and she was like, hi Aurelia, like da-da-da-da, like your testing came back totally normal, so like you don't have to go back and do it, because if you don't pass that test, you have to go back and do a 3-hour one, which 2 girls that I know that are currently pregnant, actually my friend just had her baby yesterday, so I'm like, that's crazy to me, but they had to go back and do it, and I was like, oh, I don't want to sit there for 3 hours. But so yeah, I was able to pass that, and honestly, yeah, it really wasn't that bad. Sorry, my back hurts. Pregnant life, it always hurts. That's one thing that sucked in my 2nd trimester. My back pain is a whole new level. Like, personally, it's because once you hit 20 weeks, you cannot sleep on your back anymore. They recommend you to sleep on your side, preferably your left side. I'm not comfortable like that. That is one thing can't do. I'm so uncomfortable, I can't do it. And so I just hated it. And so I still sleep on my back. Like, Ramon wakes me up and he's like, roll over, like you cannot lay on your back. But I don't want to. I really don't want to. And so it's just like, I don't know. I can't do it. So I think maybe that has like a lot of, because it's putting pressure on my spine. I feel like that's what has a lot to do with my back pain, but ugh, I can't do it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. That's like one thing I hate about pregnancy is my back hurts. And I know the further along I get, the bigger my stomach gets. It's not going to get any better. So I try to sit up straight, but it just doesn't work. But yeah, and so now being that last week of my 2nd trimester, being 27 weeks, the baby is now the size of a cauliflower, which I feel like these fruit measurements are like off. Like these fruit and vegetable measurements. Do you see this eyelash? Ah! What is happening? Haha. So I feel like the little fruit and vegetable measurements are like off, because like I feel like there's some weeks I'm like, oh, that's big. And then the next week it seems like something smaller than what was the week before. But I just read what I read. And so 27 weeks, your baby looks like this in your belly. Ooh. So that's currently what I have in there. Almost at 28 weeks, so probably a little bigger. But yeah, and like I feel like 2nd trimester, like cravings, like I just got like random cravings of random things, but they usually didn't ever last long. Like it'd be like a day or 2 craving this item, and then it'd go away, and then like I just wasn't constantly craving stuff. Like I don't know, that just hasn't been me throughout majority of my pregnancy, but sometimes there are things that I just like need, like Slurpees, Baja Blast. I mean, yeah, it's Baja Blast, like Freezies from Taco Bell, and I don't eat Taco Bell food at all, but Slurpee, like that ice consists, like thinking about it right now, like I need one. Like that is something, but I've always loved Slurpees, so I don't know if it's just like the ice and it's hot or what, but I can drink those and all day, like give me. But yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys my bump at the end of my 2nd trimester. He's little, he's not too big. Back you up. So this is what my little guy looks like. I have a sweater on, but this is what my little guy looks like. Well, I guess it doesn't help that I'm wearing black, but 2nd trimester, 27, almost 28 weeks. Sorry, my pillow, there, I'll go like that. There you go. But yeah, so 2nd trimester personally wasn't too bad. Got a lot done, like personally. Like, I just feel like I accomplished a lot than I did in the first trimester. The first trimester was a sick mess. And then third trimester, we'll see how that goes. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to keep up with my weekly pregnancy updates, I actually will be uploading my 27 weeks pregnancy update. I can't talk right now. Pregnancy update. Actually probably in like 2 days, so right when I get to Hawaii. And then I will be vlogging in Hawaii. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that in a 2-part because we are there for 5 days. So I don't want one really long vlog, so I'll probably split that up into 2. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys like these types of videos and want to follow my pregnancy, please subscribe, because I will be updating it as much as possible. And also you can follow my Instagram, where I pretty much post like almost every day because I'm a mess. I'm just one of those people. Leave me alone. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!